Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Mile High Open 2021. I'm your host, Sebastian Seabass Wolf, and we're ready for an incredible day of Jugger action. Today is day one of seeding, and we will be playing set play. That means first to three, best of three. In the meantime, let's take a look at our teams. The Phoenix Lights, the Reapers, the Oklahomies, Desert Wolves, Ursa Majoris, Dranger, Spartans, and Rigger Tortoise leading up the lineup. Jugger is a competitive sport played between two teams. 4 enforcers armed with Pomfin and able to defend themselves, and 1 quick who has nothing and is the only player able to grab the ball in the center, known as the skull. After a countdown, the players enter the field and face off against each other in the center. The enforcers spar with their Pomfin while the quick fights for control of the skull. If a player is struck by a Pomfin, they drop for a set amount of time, temporarily taken out of the action. Using a variety of Pomfin from the spear-like slash or short and shield to the intimidating chain, an 8-foot ball on a rope, enforcers must work as a team to deal with their opponents while creating an opening for their quick to grab the skull. Once the quick sees an opening, they rush for the skull and then for the goal, placing the skull inside it and scoring a point for their team. As we head into our first game of today, let's take a quick look at Ursa Majoris and Rigger Tortoise. Both of them are out-of-state teams bringing incredible prospects. This is the first time Rigger Tortoise has been out to the MHO, but they are here to prove a point and make a statement. Ursa Majoris has been a powerful team from California for quite some time, and we're going to see if they can really show up today. With this being our first matchup of the tournament, we'll get a good opportunity to gauge the power of these teams as they duke it out. Let's take a look. Both teams trot out onto the line. First play of the tournament and a nice formation on both sides. Ursa's going to get to that ball first, but it looks like a good chain break on the side of Ursa as well. And I stand corrected. Sword and board strikes in as well, and Ursa is looking fantastic. They've got possession of the skull, moving from left to right across the field. They are cut off by Ursa and forced to ice the skull. Rigger Tortoise is now in possession. They're going to do their best to hold on to it. A quick chain and sword and board engagement almost charge each other, but they don't quite. And it looks like Ursa will be back in possession. They are making their way towards the goal. Sword and board in hot pursuit from Rigger Tortoise, but it will not be enough. A diving goal from Ursa Majoris will secure point number 1. Beautiful play from both teams right off the bat. You can see that these guys have come to play. It's hard to go that hard on your very first point, but we are fighting for every single point that we've got right now. Here we come again. Rigger Tortoise on the left-hand side of your camera, Ursa Majoris in the purple and yellow as both sides face off. Blastoise is now in possession of the skull from Rigger Tortoise, moving up that side into the blind spot, unable to quite see with our cameras, forced to ice it, and they will be eliminated. Quick duel along the center line, a pin, fantastic play once again by Ursa Majoris, and I think this might be a free run into the goal. It is indeed. Ursa Majoris secure point number 2 very quickly. We are playing best of 3, first to 3. So that means Ursa Majoris is currently on set point. They need to win another set on top of that if they want to win the game, whereas Rigger Tortoise really needs to step things up if they want to have a chance of taking this game. Play number 3, we see a fast entrance onto the line. No one wants to grab the skull immediately, but Ursa will end up in possession, running a nice line along the right-hand side. We can see a good wall defense and rotation on the side of Ursa Majoris. This is absolutely classic play, with their quick making a quick run of the entire course, coming back in on the right-hand side as their enforcers get back up. A duel over the mound. Will they be able to hold it out? Rigger Tortoise goes down, and just like that, that'll be set 1 for Ursa Majoris. Man, absolutely stellar play from both sides there. There's very little that I'm seeing wrong on both teams. They're both lining up really fantastically, but Rigger is unfortunately losing a lot of their 1v1 duels, and Ursa Majoris has superior field control. They are wheeling themselves across the field exactly how you would want to in order to make these plays successful. Heading into set number 2, they are going to switch sides, so you'll see Ursa Majoris coming in on the left-hand side now. Fighting over the skull in the middle, no camera switch, so it's hard for us to see the action from this angle. There we go. Ursa Majoris is once again in possession of the skull. They managed to come around on the flank, but Blastoise with an excellent chain hook will take down the quick, and we've got a fight over the goal as everyone rushes in to grab pins. As they place their Pomfin up against enforcers, they are not allowed to rise even if their count has finished until that pin is released. A fight over the goal. I stand corrected, and it looks like it will go in at the very end there. Ursa Majoris will grab that point. Quicks are allowed to wrestle each other and contest the goal. So you saw both Quicks battling it out back and forth, trying their best to maintain possession of the skull, but they were unable to stop that point. Ursa up 1-0 as we head into play number 2. We see the lines clash. Decent try on the chain flick, but it looks like they will go down on Ursa's side. A good collapse on both teams. I'm not really sure who has the advantage at this point in time. A decent goal, duel with that slash, excuse me, but doesn't quite do enough. Forced to retreat backwards, a contested over the goal. It is contested. Ursa Majoris has their Quick inside the mound, unable to score that point, and with the chain bringing down the hammer, Ursa Majoris back in possession of the skull. That was within a 1/10 of a second of Rigger taking that point, and unfortunately they are unable to capitalize. We see a lot of pursuit from the backhand line. Beautiful work right there. Looks like that is number 67, I want to say, on Ursa Majoris, clearing the field with the sword and board and setting it up for match point for Ursa Majoris. They need one more to take game 1 in very quick and deciding fashion. We've got a little bit of a pause in the action as we take the long break this time to watch both of our teams reset instead of cutting directly to the point. I want to take this opportunity to talk a bit about strategy and tactics that Ursa is employing very well. I love to see when teams refuse to give up on the goal. That could have very easily been a Rigger Tortoise point, and they defended it to their absolute maximum. It is a unique Colorado rule, at least in North American Jugger, that we are allowed to contest the goal by what's called honeypotting, putting your hands down inside the mound in order to prevent the other Quick from scoring the goal. Ursa adapted very quickly and used that to their advantage to secure themselves a point that was much needed. We are now 1 away from match number 1 for Ursa Majoris. We can see the ready calls going out here from our referee, and in just a moment, our players are going to hit that pitch. Hopefully, Rigger Tortoise can find a little bit of strength in them and put a point on the board. We shall see as the lines come in, what could be the final point of our very first match of the day. Ursa are in first possession of the skull, and that is not a good sign. We see a collapse along the right-hand side, and just like that, every Rigger Tortoise member goes down, and it is an easy match point for Ursa Majoris. That last play was everything you could have wanted, and it is victory to Ursa Majoris in our very first game of the season. So fantastic to watch them play. They are a coordinated and wonderful team, as we can see here, trying everything they can to put every goal away possible. Back line doing a good job of covering. Their Quicks are doing a fantastic job moving up and down the field, and they're playing like a well-oiled machine. I would not be surprised to see them contest heavily for the title this year based off of the coordination that they have. Rigger Tortoise, the good news is they've got plenty of games to play this season, and they have many more chances to secure themselves a good spot in Day 2 bracket play. Let's go ahead and head into our next game. Phoenix Lights and the Desert Wolves have had an incredible reputation as rivals in Arizona. Both of them come down from the Phoenix area, and both of them are two of the strongest teams you will see on the Jugger field. This classic rivalry match sets the stage for match number 2 of the MHO seeding. I cannot wait for what should be an incredibly explosive, contentious, and high-level Jugger match coming up next. Straight into play number 1 here. As the music fades, the tension rises as both teams make their way to the center of the pitch. You can see the skull standing there alone in the center of the field, just waiting for a play to be made. Both teams bring the highest level of fighters to the field. They are incredibly competent, strong, and fast, and both are favored to do well here in the Mile High Open. Looks like we have a tiny little bit of a delay in start. No big deal, though. Some of the people you want to be looking out for here on both sides of the court. We've got Zano on Team Desert Wolves, one of the best sword and board players in the country. But don't get me wrong, just because I'm calling him out doesn't mean the Desert Wolves don't bring an entirely packed lineup to their side of the field. Phoenix Lights, on the other hand, same deal with their player, Josh Hawk, absolutely terrifying. You'll see his very expressive board out there on the field, constantly calling names, and just like that, the action has gotten started. As you can see, these solid lines go back and forth. There's very little action as both teams try and vie for the best position. There will be no point by the Desert Wolves. Excellent stoppage on the quick. You can see just like that, Hawk is going to move up and get the pin onto the Desert Wolves quick, making sure that he cannot score the skull. You are allowed to affect the skull with your palm fin. You see with that little flick go in right there. Desert Wolves moving into contest. Chain will knock down the Phoenix Lights quick. They will be down for 8 stones, a significant amount of time. Oh, beautiful over the head shot. Did it secure fast enough? Doesn't look like it did. We'll have a simultaneous knockdown, but we will reset pins. You watch the Chain getting the pin in, and boom, Desert Wolves will score their first point. That was a crazy fight, and you can see that contest over the goal, precisely what I am talking about when it comes to these two teams. They are ready to fight for the championship. Point number 2, teams begin to enter into the field, and we see some immediate action across the field. Phoenix Lights will go down, and Chain will remain up, but no one is currently in possession of the skull, actually. Looks like Hawk will get up and grab that pin. You can see the Q-tip as well over there for Phoenix Lights, grabbing some pins. Those pins will ensure that you maintain the advantage on the field, makes it significantly easier to score a point. As you can see, we've got Hawk maintaining essentially a double pin, and very good effort, but bravo. Nice work by, I believe that is Kumail, on the side of Desert Wolves, will stop the point. Chain contest over there, 2v1, excellent work, but I don't think they got there in time. I think that one counts, and it does. They miss the pin on the Phoenix Lights quick. They're able to get back up, get the skull, and immediately score it. You've always got to be very careful, keeping an eye out on that quick, making sure to stop them before they get any pressure and put that skull in the goal. Now 1-1 as we see both teams battle fiercely over initial possession. Phoenix Lights will come out on top, running along the right-hand side of the field. They are still clear, guided in, will be knocked down right on the goal line. Very good defensive play by the Desert Wolves, really on both sides. You can see the line backing up as both players advance. You always see bodies there to contest the goal. Very rarely do you see a free run on either side. A beautiful slide. I'm not sure if it went in or not. It didn't. We've got a diving run in right there. I think we're going to go ahead and call that a point for now. I'm not sure if any contact was made with the Desert Wolves quick. We'll see if a flag was thrown on the play. There may very well be a call to redo point on this one, but I honestly don't know. I couldn't see the contact from my end, so let's take a look. Let's see what we got and whether or not that point is going to stand. I do see the refs conversing back and forth, and it will. It will, in fact, stand. No flag on the play. That was a beautiful, clean goal by the Desert Wolves. Excellent work chasing off the pursuit and diving in for the goal. You can see the Phoenix Lights chain. That is number 7 on that side. Beautiful, absolute monster of a chain, and they're going to get an easy second goal. Number 7 on the Phoenix Lights, one of the scariest chains during our 1v1 chain competition, and you can see why. Comes onto the field swinging with no remorse and no mercy. Beautiful work on their side. 2-2. It is all tied up in our first set. That means whoever takes this point will take set 1, guaranteed, no matter what. Desert Wolves will grab the first flick, but a nice breakthrough on the center side by Phoenix. It won't matter. They are double teamed, and it is only the quick left to defend, the quick in the chain, and there it is. Desert Wolves score their third one and will take set number 1 away from the Phoenix Lights. Man, what an incredible back and forth set. We can see some shaking of hands and good rounds because that was truly deserved. Excellent play on both sides. There's no break for us, though, as we get directly into set 2. Desert Wolves now in the best position to win the first game. Phoenix Lights on the left-hand side, Desert Wolves on the right now. They have switched positions. No hit either on the board or on the chain, but I don't know if it matters as Phoenix Lights charges in. I think they got a good hit, and it looks like Chain is still up. He will go down. A good circumvention by the quick. Phoenix Lights will put the first point on the board early on. I love watching when you see good communication from a team. You watched, even though they were losing a little bit in the center side, and an incredible right-hand push there from the Phoenix Lights secures them goal number 1. Excellent movement by their quick as well, ensuring that they were able to dodge out of the way and avoid getting hit, any sort of contact or dropping the skull. Again, another sword and board versus chain fight. This time looks like sword and board will come out on top for the Desert Wolves. A little bit of back and forth play. Quick goes down, so now we've got an open skull, but Desert Wolves are in possession. Zano's going to go ahead and flick that back to number 22. Excellent play and maneuvering on the field, just like what I was talking about. That Quick needs to avoid going down at all costs. They aren't giving up on the play. They are surrounding the Quick, keeping him guarded, but it's a 3-on-2 maneuver by the Phoenix Lights. They rush in on the flank. That might be a little bit of a late throw, but that's all right. Cutting over, we see the Skull in possession now of the Phoenix Lights. We see at least one pin, 2 pins. Good play by the Sword and Board. That's going to stop that point, but everyone is going down. Desert Wolves still with just enough defenders to try and keep it a fight. But the Phoenix Lights are not going to give up all that easily. We see a little bit of a contest struggle over the goal. Not sure who's got it. No goal called quite yet. Pins coming in on both sides as we fight over the point. Manages to just barely clear the Skull before going down. Desert Wolves trying their best. I don't think they're going to have enough time. They try and flick the chain over, but it is not good enough. Phoenix Lights take away a second hard-earned point on that one. Very, very tough fight near the goal, but they persevered, they got through, used their teams who was not pinned very, very wisely. Good point on both sides. And just like that, Phoenix Lights are making this a contest. It is now 2-0 in the second set. One more point, and they've got themselves a game. Looks like we can see the refs conferring here a little bit. I do believe we are going to vote to continue play. I imagine a flag on the field there, some sort of impact, but nothing play affecting. Scoreboard still stands 2-0. So I think we are getting ourselves into set point for Phoenix Lights. I say that, but we do have a bit of a delay. We'll see if the scoreboard changes. If not, then we are going to continue with what we were seeing. I see the ready calls now going out, and yes, sure enough, it will be set point for Phoenix Lights. We should see them all charging in here momentarily to battle over the Skull. As I said before, what really makes a huge difference for both of these teams is team formation. You see that consistently the Quick is placing themselves behind Enforcers, exactly what they need to be doing. There are always 2 or 3 backups. You see pins on valuable members. Really, the only major mistake in play, we've seen the Desert Wolves give away a free point over to Phoenix Lights there a couple minutes ago, but those mistakes do happen occasionally. Fight over the Skull, Desert Wolves unable to get possession. Number 7, once again on the Desert Wolves, doing work on the right-hand side. Quick following up directly behind. A nice chain jump, but isn't quite good enough. Everyone on the Desert Wolves goes down, and it will be set number 1 to Phoenix Lights as well. We are going into the final set with these two teams ready to duke it out. Phoenix Lights really putting on a dominant performance that time, 3-0ing the team that just won the set on them. A lot of times, Phoenix Lights seem to play very well from behind. They let it influence their play, get themselves psyched up. They have very good mental attrition from other tournaments that I've seen them in. Really able to get themselves pumped back up, ready to go. They do not give up on plays. Quick is going to try to charge through on the Phoenix Lights, but does not quite work. We see a little bit of a, hold down there from Quick to Quick as they wrestle over the Skull. A good switch pin by the Desert Wolves ensures that the Quick is not going to be able to affect the Skull. And it looks like we've got a nice little run around here. Chain force to leave the pin. A contestant over the goal. We've got Quick's wrestling. A nice little tap will force off of the mount. But the mount has come free of its stake. And I think we're going to see a stoppage of play. Not sure if we're going to call the goal before it moved or after. Or if we're going to continue play here. Yeah, it looks like we will see a stop of play. Score is still 0-0, so we are going to see a play-affecting penalty on that one with the mound coming free of its stake. No one is able to determine a correct goal, and the Desert Wolves and Phoenix Lights will face off once again, 0-0. In they come clashing. Ooh, almost tug of war over the Skull, and Desert Wolves come out on top. Right-hand side run this time, almost free, but they do go down. Number 12 just barely unable to escape an Enforcer. Oh, Phoenix Lights going for the sneak. There were a ton of Desert Wolves Enforcers, but nobody knew he was coming. Thank goodness they had someone in the backfield ready to defend, forces an ice from the Phoenix Lights, and everyone gets into position. Number 7 with a chain forced to give up the pin, which leaves them in a very vulnerable position, actually. Quick, going to try and ice it over to the other side of the field once again, and now we do have Desert Wolves at least in control of the Skull. So an unfortunate ice from the Phoenix Lights puts it right back where it needs to be. We watch, again, a 2v1 situation, but Phoenix Lights Quick is able to immediately get up for free, and they've got number 3 there as an Enforcer, moving up and ready to cover. They're going to stall as best they can near the center of the field, but again, an ice is forced, and incredibly delayed and extended play Looks like a lot of pins on camera for Desert Wolves, so they may have a good advantage on the left-hand side of the field. We'll see what else they've got. Actually, we do. We've got pins everywhere except for the Quick, forcing the Quicks into a wrestling contest. There's no one up who can contest them, and Desert Wolves will score point number 1. That was an incredibly drawn-out and fantastic play. Both teams doing a great job of leaving an enforcer in position to play defensively every time the Quick went for a breakaway. Even though they were sneaking around behind, doing excellent jobs maneuvering, nobody was able to get there until eventually the Desert Wolves won their duels and won themselves the point. Quick countdown, and here we go. Both teams coming right back in yet again. 1-0 is the score. Desert Wolves favor in the final set of game number 2 of the Mile High Open. A good down, a lot of duels won on the side of Phoenix Lights. Zano's going to go for a pin there and is unable to do so, knocked down by the chain as Hawk moves up to grab some pins. Phoenix Lights chains doing absolute work right now, doing a good job of contesting everyone, and it looks like 34 on the Desert Wolves will also go down, unable to contest, and a free walk-in for Phoenix Lights. They really put up a fight on the line, but it just was not enough. Chain on the right-hand side doing excellent work. For those of you who might be new to Jugger, the chain is a pretty terrifying implement to witness. It's a very large ball on a rope, and it knocks players down for a longer period of time than a regular palm fin. A palm fin is 5 counts, each of them is 1.5 seconds, whereas the chain is 8. So not only is it a large, long-range threat, it can eliminate players for an extended period of time, as we see right there as the sword and board player from Desert Wolves goes down, and just like that, Phoenix Lights is going to execute up the middle, grabbing themselves a second point and taking this one to match. Number 6, I believe that is Zano there on the field. Looks like a light injury, flexing it, trying to make sure they are doing okay. Phoenix Lights number M1 there, doing their best to make sure they're doing okay. See what happened. Doesn't look like I don't see any refs here out on the field, so I don't think there was anything play affecting or a penalty. Just kind of double checking to see what happens. Looks like, yeah, they will get back up. Number 7, chain there on the Desert Wolves also helping up, and we will see match point. Phoenix Lights versus Desert Wolves. This one is as close of a nail-biter as you can possibly get. Just a couple of points separate these teams from the win. Let's see if this can be the game ender for Phoenix Lights or the game extender for the Desert Wolves. M1 coming in with an attempted flank. A beautiful quick tackle there by number 69 on the Phoenix Lights is going to come up with possession of the skull, and they're going to move over and place that into the mound. I think that might be the match for Phoenix Lights, but as I say that, it does look like there is a flag on the play. We are going to go to contention with the refs and see if they have managed to send them packing or what the deal is going to be here. We've got a couple of the Phoenix Lights kneeling over on one hand side. The refs are beginning to congregate in the center. They're going to send everyone away. Most of the time it is only team captains, if anyone, who comes up to have a conversation with the refs. If something is play affecting, they will force a redo of the point. So we're going to see if that's going to be the case here. And it is. That was a play affecting penalty that took place off camera. So we're actually going to see a redo. It'll be match point yet again for Phoenix Lights. Desert Wolves have one more opportunity to come back into this game as they move in on the lines. We can see Desert Wolves playing fast and heavy. They do get skull possession, but a breakthrough in the middle as 2 members of Phoenix Lights move directly in and try to do their best to contest skull possession. Desert Wolves also move in, another quick wrestle and scramble along the side. Chain doing their best to stop anyone from moving forward as both quicks go down in a tangle of chains from both teams. Looks like Phoenix Lights is back up, but will go back down again, and we're going to see an extended play as both quicks immediately go down. We see a double pin on both sides. Someone's going to have to take the initiative and get someone down. A good little hit there will free the quick, but they will be knocked down yet again. Never mind, they are moving up the right-hand side. Will they get it? I don't know if there was any contact there or not, but they do put it in. I don't know if we have no goal counted. Doesn't look like it, but that was definite contact on the quick. Forced to go down a little bit late, but goes down nonetheless. Phoenix Lights are going to grab the skull once again, and they're going to try and end this thing. Looking for coverage, they're going to call it in. Number 3 moving in, fighting number 22 on the Desert Wolves. A from-behind quick scuffle. They're going to be knocked down, and just like that, it will be definitively Phoenix Lights takes game number 1 against the Desert Wolves and is going to send them packing until next game. Excellent gameplay. My goodness gracious. The highest levels of Jugger, incredible contested plays almost every single time. Very rare was it a free walk-in for anyone. And Phoenix Lights are going to be very happy to take that first one against their rival team. Going to set them up for success for the rest of the tournament, and I think they are going to feel really good moving into their next game. Phoenix Lights get themselves a well-deserved victory logo on that one. They fought for every point, and every point was scrapped and earned for. As we can see here, good work, honestly, overall, by Phoenix Lights Quicks. They did a wonderful job maneuvering the field, and a good job of using their Enforcer's support. An excellent sneak right there by number 19 to get themselves a surprise goal, and there we see the game ender as well. That one would not have happened had 69 not called in for the support of the rest of the team. So good shot calling overall from the Phoenix Lights, and they will take it. As we move into game number 3, Rigger Tortoise versus the Spartans. Spartans, our local team here from Colorado, Arvada specifically, and they have been a contender in many MHOs, taking second place at the last MHO. We'll see how they face against Rigger Tortoise today, as this matchup will be occurring for the first time, both teams meeting each other on the Jugger pitch. I am super excited to see this one. Let's see how it shakes out in play number 1. As you can see, we have Rigger Tortoise there on the left-hand side in the blue and white, and the Spartans in the green and black facing off on the field. We've got the Reapers reffing for us. If you notice, a lot of players do officiate these games. Moving on to the first play. Some interesting overhand chain technique by Rigger Tortoise. Almost commits some friendly fire there, but really good chain control overall, and a very dominant right-hand performance. A nice chain duck, though, on the side of the Spartans, and it looks like Miggy on the chain there is going to do his absolute best. A goal contest, fighting back and forth over the goal, and it will be. Avocado will come out with the skull, moving along the left-hand side of the field, and it's a free run, and the Spartans Quick will score it for point number 1. Rigger Tortoise were within a hair of taking that one and are unable to do so. Spartans grab point number 1, and this is going to be an exciting game. Love to see that kind of defense and offense. Moving into play number 2. Both teams getting the ready call and ready signal thrown out. See the countdown there from the ref, 3, 2, 1 Jugger, and then the players enter the field of play. Attempted flick and a nice dive from Rigger Tortoise is going to stop immediate skull possession from the Spartans, but I don't know if that matters. A center and left-hand collapse. Chain will take down the rest, and it will be an easy walk-in. Blastoise trying to contest that goal, but doesn't quite get it there in time. Point number 2 for the Spartans. Decent work on the chain there by Attilis, one of our new players here, and really did fantastic job, but that was a nice center collapse by the Spartans. And just like that, they are in set point number 1 with Rigger Tortoise at 0. It's kind of crazy how fast these short-setted games can swing. Rigger Tortoise almost getting point number 1, but it doesn't really matter as, you know, now all of a sudden Spartans are very close to getting that set point. Alvarado with a beautiful chain maneuver stops their Quick from going down as their Quick sprints up the right-hand side. A lot of the Rigger Tortoise members are coming back again with a beautiful chase on the goal, but it's not quite going to be enough. And set number 1 goes to the Arvada Spartans. Wow, I am really blown away by how well the Spartans are playing right now in game number 1. Good organization, and as you can see, the Spartans have a huge asset in both their chain player and their Quicks. Their Quicks are fast, maneuverable, and they can find pockets in the most unlikely of spaces. That is one of the biggest advantages of this team. But Rigger Tortoise has a good, strong line. Their sword and board players are tight and even. We'll see them coming in on the opposite sides. We have switched sides for the set. Blastoise moves up, is taken down by the overhand chain right there by Goliath. Goliath is going to get taken down. Nice chain break there by Rigger Tortoise as they move up and take position along the left-hand side of the field. Spartans still doing a good job of maintaining possession of the skull. Blastoise unable to get that hit right as he was coming back up again. But, ooh, excellent flank play there by Rigger Tortoise. Will take them down, and now they've got possession of the skull. They're moving in for a breakaway, but it's not quite good enough. The Spartans are there to defend, and they are setting up for a good center push. We can see 3 of the Spartans moving out. A knockdown by the chain will mean 8 stones down for Rigger Tortoise, and here come the Spartans in force, pushing up the left-hand side. Flank play will knock them down, and it is an easy walk-in. And just like that, Avocado scores point number 1 for the Spartans in set 2. Rigger Tortoise did a good job of holding out the flank there. Spartans don't seem to be keeping their eyes open along the back side, and they snuck it in, almost getting the goal. Very good flank guard by the Spartans to stop that from happening. Point number 2, getting ready here. Both teams about to enter the field of play, and we do see the run in. Very little contest over the skull. It's going to be given over freely to the Spartans. Charge in by the Rigger Tortoise does not work. They set up defensive positions, but they are collapsing on every side, and a nice maneuver up the right-hand side by the Spartans will take point number 2. Lickety-split. Wow, that was a really, really good collapse on the side of the Spartans. They capitalized on the middle in an easy 2v1 situation and then used that right-hand advantage to push up, get the skull scored. Really, really good work. And we are now in match point. Rigger Tortoise, unfortunately, unable to take a point so far. Here's hoping they might be able to do so, at least give us a little bit of a fight, try and get themselves back in. And what is this? Moving into match point, looks like we are going to see a friendly, quick wrestle on the field. One of the most fantastic spirits of Jugger. Everyone out here to have a really good time, even though we are in a competitive tournament. Blastoise and Goliath dueling here on the field, doing their absolute best to stop the behemoth that is Blastoise from scoring that skull. Doing a good job overall, maintaining position on the top side. Do remember that legal quick wrestling requires you to be under the armpit or above the legs, but right now we're just having a good time playing the best that we can. Blastoise doing their best to keep the garment up as they continue to pull the Spartans along as they hug the legs. And I do believe we see a defeated Goliath right there. Will he be able to? No, he's still scrapping, holding on to the leg. He's unable to do it, and Blastoise will win the quick wrestle and score a point for Rigger Tortoise. Fantastic play right there. That was a beautiful point. Exhausting for the Spartans, but a wonderful thing to see. One of my favorite things about playing and watching Jugger is the fact that everyone is here to be friends, to be friendly, and have wonderful spirited games like that one. All right, moving back in, we've now got Rigger Tortoise on the board. The Spartans are moving into match point, and we will see if they can take it on this one. Rigger Tortoise might use that friendly little exchange as an excuse to get themselves in position to take a set. Ooh, what a beautiful chain hop there by Alvarado. Is getting pushed away on the outside. We'll see if he survives, but I don't know if it matters, as it looks like Avocado comes in on the left-hand side, skull in hand. No camera switch onto the right-hand side, but we do see the goal come in, and that will be game for the Spartans. They will take their first win in the tournament, and unfortunately, Rigger Tortoise is going to be sent home a little bit early. Some nice celebrations there by the Spartans as they hand themselves a very solid victory. There's really not all that much to be said critical of the Spartans this time around. They did a good job of collapsing on any positional weakness from Rigger Tortoise. You can see their enforcers are constantly pushing up, clearing the way for their quick. One of their best strong suits is making sure the quicks are able to maximize their maneuverability and coverage on the field, constantly sinking in those points at every opportunity that they get, while still being friendly sports. We move into game number 4, the Reapers versus the Dranger. Our first all-local matchup. The Denver Reapers take on the Littleton Dranger. The Reapers, also a very solid contender this season. The Dranger, newcomers to the field. This is their first season as a team, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of gameplay they bring, whether they will be challengers or not. We'll take a very good look here in game number 1, and this will be a nice gauge of the skill set of both of these teams. We can see cameras covering both sides as the Reapers and Dranger face off. Reapers on the left-hand side, Dranger on the right. Ready calls going out, and our final game of the day is underway. Reapers versus Dranger face off. Solid line on both sides. Dragon moving in, does a good job of knocking them down, but looks like Goblin is going to be there on the double. Reapers are in possession of the skull, and they are moving up mighty quick on the field. Cerberus with the easy play, and Reapers will get themselves a guided in first point against the Dranger. Love to see that kind of flying in action along the center line, but did not quite work out well enough for them. Moving quickly into point number 2, Reapers with a very good lineup so far. They did a great job overall positioning and capitalizing on the mistakes of the Dranger early. Countdown goes in. We see them move in. A couple of positional shifts along the line. Beautiful chain snipe off center. So far, so good, though. Reapers in possession of the skull as they move down the field. Beautiful duel back and forth between Cerberus and Card, but it's not going to be enough. The duel was just a distraction as the Quick moves in and scores point number 2 for the Reapers, again uncontested. Dranger, unfortunately, falling apart a bit here in the middle. 2-0 already. We'll see if they can get themselves on the board and at least try and stop the Reapers from a snowball game. Countdown is finished once again. Here come the players on both teams. Moving up, we see a fight over the skull, a nice wraparound attack. It's not quite going to be enough. Chain again on the Reaper's side, knocks down several. Pins come in, and I don't see any defenders up and ready on the Dranger's side. Everyone moves back. It is only the Quick left on the Dranger. An easy little chain bop will force him out. No contest on the goal, and the Reapers walk in set number 1 against the Dranger. Really, really good line play from the Reapers so far in game number 1. Even when we have a great center burst from the Dranger, it's not enough. A quick backup 2v1 play by the Reapers, and they've got themselves set up for yet another goal. Ready calls go out from both sides. 3-2-1 Jugger is called, and both Reapers and Dranger move themselves in for the beginning of set number 2. Reapers on your right-hand side this time. A chain jump over there, I believe, by Cerberus is going to now guide in the Quick as he gets a good flank. A little bit of a quick wrestle will stop things, but an Enforcer on the Reaper side comes in, gets the hit, and there it is. Point number 1 for the Reapers. Really good contest there, but unfortunately it looks like the Reapers just had more manpower there. They were able to get an Enforcer in very quickly and stop the wrestle before they were able to strip the skull or do anything to contest it. 1-0 in set number 2. As we get ready here, the Reapers looking incredibly dominant so far, but the Dranger do have a few good downs. We'll see what they can do to try and contest overall. And here they come, lineup screaming down the field. Good little showdown on both sides. Unfortunately, Seabass is going to go down. Cerberus will go down as well. And we do have a contest. Reapers are unable to hold possession. Good chain break by the Dranger. Connor moving backwards, doing his best to try and stop number 7. Number 7 moving in with the chain. Beautiful overhand swing. Catches the head there. Head is an illegal hit area, so it will not go down, but Seabass does go down to the second swing. Cerberus moves in, covering, and there will be a second point. Or will there? Yes! Just barely getting the skull in time. Excellent defense once again. Really doing a good job of sending that cover out in position for the Quick, making sure that no come-from-behind plays can stop a point from happening. And we are now in match point 2-0, Reaper's favor. Nice little reset of the skull there as they begin to walk back. Dranger not doing too bad overall for their first exhibit. This is their first game here for the MHO and their first game as a full team. But the Reapers, a long-standing staple of the Colorado Jugger League, really showing their stars today in a dominant performance. Match point Reapers to Dranger 2-0. No points on the board yet for the Dranger, and we will see what could be the final walk-up. We'll see if Dranger can contest it. A much better line this time as everybody moves into position, maneuvering around. Dranger will come into possession of the skull. Fighting a 2v1 there, will go down, forced to ice it to the other side of the field. Reaper's chain number 9 moving in to cover the Quick. Quick is going to move in on their side of the field, but I think we might actually have a goal contest this time around. We'll see if there are any enforcers there to try and stop the point. A couple of defenses, but the chain, and it looks like number 8 there will take them down. That is an easy goal, and 3-0. Reapers absolutely dominate the game and earn themselves that first victory sign here in the MHO. This is an incredible tournament so far. Victories by all sorts of teams, but we've got tons more action for you. Reapers showing their stars, really doing a good job of contesting or guiding those Quicks in powerful lines every single time, and really earned themselves a dominant win off of that one. This has been just day 1, round 1 of seeding for the Mile High Open 2021 presented by the Colorado Jugger League. I really hope you're enjoying what you see here today because we've got significantly more action. 3 more days of seeding in addition to bracket play. If you're liking what you see, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you back for more Jugger action next time.